Hey amigos, Alex Mathers here. I've come to one of my favourite little spots, natural environment, good place to unwind and, get in touch with all that natural stuff, the green stuff. It's a nice place to be, nice place to think about things, and a good place for me to chat with you guys about fear and what place fear has in our lives, and just think about those things that scare us, that make us nervous, that make our hearts flutter. And perhaps we can reframe fear in such a way that we can allow it into our lives a bit more. So I've spent a lot of my life scared crapless of many things. It has held me back in innumerable ways. It has blocked me from hundreds, if not thousands, of opportunities. Feeling scared has stopped me from taking actions. It stopped me from reaching the completion or even starting various projects, meeting new people, going to things. It has caused a lot of missed opportunities. But it has also brought various positives which we can talk about. And I'm sure you guys have had a lot of fear in your lives, and you've experienced the discomfort of what fear brings. And I think a lot of us might be looking at fear in a way that inhibits us too much. What if we could look at fear not as an indication of something that we shouldn't do, something that we are not suited to, rather something that we should do, or rather something, because I don't like the word should, what if fear could be used as an indicator of something that was worthy of doing, was worth doing, was actually a good thing to do, was actually an indication of something that we find important and we know to be important for our souls. Stephen Pressfield, the writer, said that those things that bring the most resistance are usually those things that are most important for our soul's development. Perhaps fear is just an indication of those things that you hold in very high regard. Maybe you care more about those things than other things. Perhaps if you thought about it that way, it might be a lot easier to be appreciative of the idea that maybe you can make friends with fear. And by knowing that fear is giving you a little nudge, a little indication in the direction of things that you hold important, perhaps there's a way to think about fear in a way that actually can guide you towards the things that is going to not only awaken your soul, but bring in, beyond that, bring tremendous rewards as well, through the courage that takes. So thinking about fear in a different way has really helped me. So when I am fearful of things, whereas a few years ago I would have looked at the fear and thought, yeah, that's just that thing is not for me. I'm an introvert. I shouldn't be doing this sort of stuff. I'm not made for this kind of thing. A podcast interview is coming up. I feel nervous about it. That means that I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do it. It's not my thing. And so I would do my best to avoid it, or I would just plow through it and try and get through alive. And then, spend far too much time worrying about it in advance. But now I look at things that bring me some trepidation, some angst, some nervousness, and I think to myself, okay, well, what is that fear telling me about that thing? Maybe it's an indication that I should be embracing it and welcoming that opportunity into my life, and perhaps it's an opportunity for me to get in touch with something I find really important, and maybe doing it is going to bring me to new levels of excitement, awareness, and positive experience that I might otherwise have avoided or not seen or experienced if I'd said no to the thing. So seeing fear in a friendly way is a great way to help you make a decision on those things that are scary and help you say yes to those things that otherwise you might have said no to. But also they help you reduce any angst that surrounds that thing, because if you understand that actually fear is guiding you in a positive sense through something that you initially don't like the idea of, you can accept it. You can accept your nervousness. You can accept and let go into the struggle that you're feeling, the anxiety that you're feeling. You're no longer resisting it. That's the key thing. A lot of us, we see fear and we resist the fear. We think, oh, yeah, see, I'm not made for this. This is typical me. I'm useless at this. This is why I'm scared. My fear is telling me, yes, you should stay clear of this thing. But maybe, just maybe, it's telling you that this is your thing. This is worth doing. This is worth taking courage through. And you have nothing to fear. Fear is just our own interpretation of a feeling of excitement. How about that? Perhaps fear and anxiety and nervousness is only something we consider negative because we've labeled it with those words. Perhaps fear is just a feeling of excitement in the face of something that we know deep down is actually extremely important for us, extremely important for our growth, extremely important for realizing the abundance that we can have in our lives. Not to sound too woo-woo and kind of super coachy here, but it really is true. This is why I say it. There is a lot of abundance. There's a lot of depth to be experienced in life. And fear guides that way. It guides us towards that abundance. Fear is there for a reason. It excites you because when you do the thing, you will be rewarded in ways that you can't when you aren't doing those things that bring your soul to life. So nervousness, see it as a guide, see it as a friend, see it as an indication of something to be excited about and to be happy about doing. No matter how scary it feels, you have to perhaps see those feelings in a different light and see them as excitement, see it as just simply energy coursing through your body, and maybe you can take advantage of it in that light. When you can take management of your attitude, your experience of what you once considered fearful or something to be labeled as fear, if you can manage that, you can manage pretty much anything, because no one else is running towards their fears. Very few people are running towards their fears and making friends with fears and being guided in a positive way by those things that they think are fearful, because 99% of the people around you, look around you, they're blocked by what they think is fear. They're limited by what they think is fear. They're limited by the thoughts that interpret these feelings of excitement in an incorrect way. So take advantage of that by doing the things that you think are scary and realizing that they're actually good for you. You're going to be doing what very few others do. Getting on that stage, getting on that podcast, doing a live stream, meeting that person. Few people want to do those things that bring that level of high energy, of beating heart. It's a sign that you're alive, and it's a sign that you're doing something that few others do, and the rewards are likely to be big. This is why those people who succeed in life tend to take the biggest step, the big steps, the massive actions, the actions, the activities that their body is telling them is a scary thing possibly, but also an exciting thing and something that can bring reward, something that many might consider risky, but of course risk is not necessarily recklessness. Risk can be calculated. You can think about what's worthy of doing. Obviously not, jumping off the side of buildings is not a very intelligent thing to do, and you will feel fear. But look for those things that make you feel high energy and possibly a little bit scared, that are going to lead to some positive results. So see fear in a new light, perhaps. Could it be an indication, when you feel fearful, when you feel nervous, could it be an indication of this thing being something that is really, really worth doing deep down? Maybe it's not an indication of your limits. Maybe it's not an indication of you being of poor personality, of poor character. Perhaps your fear is an indication of two things. I'm going to leave you with two things, and the second one I'll probably explore in another video. But the first one obviously is that fear is an indication of what to do. The second one is that you might need to do some practice in the thing that you fear. Perhaps it's not an indication of you being an idiot. If you're scared of something, it means you need to do it and you need to practice doing it. So it's not about a character flaw here, it's about the fact that you have an opportunity to do the drills, to do the repetitions, and to get better at that thing. And when you can understand that getting on top of your fear is a lot to do with practice and preparedness, you can accomplish anything. Like when I had to give a talk in front of 2,000 people about 3 years ago, and I was so nervous about it, and I took that fear as an indication of something that I wasn't going to be very good at, and I did not prepare very much because I assumed that my fear was showing me that I was inadequate at that kind of thing, at giving talks to so many people, and I was just scared to embrace doing anything about it. So I didn't want to be reminded of the upcoming event by practicing, and I also took fear to indicate that I was an introvert and I wasn't very good at that kind of thing. So I didn't practice, and I was scared, and the result was a terrible performance on stage in front of thousands of people. Whereas if I had seen fear in that instance as an indication of something that was really important to my soul's development, really important to me and very worthy of my time and attention, and I understood the importance of doing the work and preparing myself and doing the drills and over preparing so that I would really kill it like I've done in subsequent situations where I was fearful, then I would have really done very well. So think about fear in that sense. Hopefully that helped. And it's always a pleasure to have you join me here in the park. If you enjoyed this, you know what you need to do. Hit that like button and do subscribe. The more of you guys that know about this stuff, the more fulfilling this is to get these ideas out there. So I hope that helped, guys. Pleasure as always. Much love. Alex, out.